Alrighty, hello every folks, and good morning. Alright, got some good news for you today because the Aethermancer demo is out. Is it Aethermancer, Aethermancer? Honestly, I don't know. But what I will say is that this game has been a hell of a lot of fun in the few hours that I've had a chance to actually go and play it. I meant to get a video out on this yesterday, but frankly, I had a busy day with the kiddos after immediately coming off of third shift, so brain was in full-on nope mode most of the day. But I did finally get a chance to take a look at this thing, and man, it is awesome. So, first of all, feel free to skip this video and just go straight to the demo there. But for those that are unclear on why we were so excited about this thing, this is the follow-up game from the folks that made Monster Sanctuary. So that is an absolutely beloved indie game. Basically, the answer to the question of what if Symphony of the Night had Pokemon, and frankly, like these guys are really good at coming up with creative creature concepts and then applying them in a very sort of, I guess you could say, a trading card game kind of way, where we've got a lot of fun card game mechanics, and this one in particular feels like if somebody took, let's say, Magic the Gathering and made it into a Pokemon roguelike, and that's more or less exactly what we're doing here. So you'll see a lot more of that in just a bit of a second here. But yeah, these guys are really good at coming up with fun monster concepts and just fun game mechanics in general when it comes to team builders. But I love how right from the get-go there's been a massive step up when it comes to the animations, and they absolutely will take a chance to show that off whenever possible. Like, I love the fact that they march across the loading screen here. It gives me Legend of Mana vibes. And I just love it. Anyway, so let's go ahead and get into this thing. I'm just going to show off a bit of the UI elements to start off with because there's a lot in there. Like even this demo itself is a pretty darn meaty one, being essentially a roguelike you can play through multiple times. And yeah, let's just go ahead and cover this thing. So right from the very start, let's take a look at these monsters. Okay, so when it comes to combat in this game, this is always going to be team-based. So every time you enter a new area, you get a new creature that you're coming back and essentially bringing back from the kind of like void of souls or whatever it is that's going on there. Where effectively when you see a creature out in the wild, you can sort of get a snapshot of it in order to sort of pocket it for later, that you have a copy of its soul, right? And so this means that, let's say one of your creatures is injured, you can replace them with somebody else and then essentially rebuild your other creature later. Whenever somebody dies, they're, completely, just like functionally completely dead, but you can later recall their soul if it's somebody that you had a soul bind with. But the thing is, each of these creatures has not only unique traits, but kind of randomized moves that they end up getting a hold of. With every level that they get new moves, and with each of these new moves comes new fun synergies. So for example, this guy is currently my favorite because he's kind of an alternate version of almost the embodiment of one of my favorite things from Pokemon, because even though my favorite Pokemon was always Zapdos, my favorite move by any metric whatsoever was always Metronome, which I know comes as no shocker whatsoever, which meant that when you got a Togepi back in Gold and Silver, that sucker stayed with me all game. Because frankly, I just always loved the absolute randomness of Metronome, and effectively what this little dude right here starts with is called Eagle Eyes, giving you the ability to copy two enemy actions and use them once. Effectively a combination of Mimic and Metronome in a way where you can kind of bank a couple of unique moves as a one-off thing to use later. So this means that while himself he doesn't have that many direct attacks so far, this might potentially give him a really good counter towards, let's say, something else that the team is currently missing. So I love that as a concept. But the thing is, as you're building these creatures up, you're constantly getting new synergies. So like, let's say right here, the initial kind of move that he starts off with here is called Bubble Trick. So he'll effectively shoot out a cloud of bubbles and then sidekick somebody through that cloud of bubbles, which I just love as a starting move. Like, that is just so unnecessarily badass for a starting move. But the thing is, it applies a buff called Sidekick, and if we hit the thing over here for additional information, I will note that the guys that made these games really love their tooltips. Like, they really like making sure you have all your information at one time. So it's all very, very clear. But anyways, so it'll give you a little pop-up here that says, okay, Sidekick is that whenever another ally attacks, they trigger a Sidekick attack on this monster, which will deal 1 times 4 damage based on the monster's elements and then consume 1 stack. And you can stack this multiple times. And like, let's say you pick up an item that allows you to have a chance of generating generating additional stacks of a buff. Or let's say you have an attack that says, hey, if you land a critical, you double up whatever buffs you already had, and then you take another passive that says, hey, all of your sidekick attacks are currently critical, and then you have another one that says, hey, you always start off with a sidekick stack, and it's like, hey, you basically now have this permanently guaranteed thing that's regenerating itself all the time, That's the kind of mentality that it wants you to go with here. Or let's say this Mandragora plant over here. Their unique thing is that they'll apply regeneration to themselves, and whenever a generation triggers on this one, they also apply regeneration to each ally, which then triggers on regeneration on them. So they constantly are just regenerating everybody all over the place. And let's say I picked up a perk on this one that says that they cleanse corruption, because every time that your creatures take any damage, but they haven't healed it by the end of their turn, they are corrupted a little bit, because this is basically one gigantic void that everyone's in. And so this means that they lose a little bit of their max health. And so what this guy does is that he can functionally overheal in order to heal that kind of permanent health loss, as it were. So suddenly we're not as worried about entropy and stuff like that. And let's say we have another move over here that's going to give them a free action that allows them to shield in order to prevent a loss of health, and additionally will heal that target. And as we mentioned earlier, every time that they're regenerating above something's max health, they now suddenly are going to get rid of corruption as well. So they're not only shielded, they're not only healed, but they're also potentially improving their maximum health bar as well. And this just keeps going with every new thing that you show up here. Like, you just keep adding more and more stuff to the stack as it gets more and more ridiculous. So we'll get into a fight here just to show off a few of those combat mechanics, but that's the mentality that we're seeing here, that you just take your build and you keep getting more and more ridiculous with it. Now, as far as UI elements, we're just going to go ahead and just warp over to another point here. One of those kind of minor gripes of a lot of sort of stage-based roguelikes is that you can find yourself wandering and backtracking and stuff like that quite a bit. And so in this particular case, we can just pick any point of interest in the map and warp on over to it, because again, you're basically kind of trans-dimensional wizard kind of thing. Now, it seems like we potentially have a boss over there, so I'm trying to get his attention a little bit. But you'll notice that we can actually jump off from the high ground in order to ambush this guy. So you've got 3 different world states that I know of so far that allow you to interact with stuff that's out there. So you've got the sort of standard rush, which allows you to run up and just sort of hit a guy and partially stagger them. We'll explain more on that in a little bit of a moment, but basically it just causes them to be easier to knock backwards at the start of the fight. Or let's say they ambush you, like you run around a corner and a bunch of monsters just pop out from behind a tree or something. You have a chance to parry it to prevent them from doing the same to you, and if you're popping off of high ground, you can actually do an improved version of that stagger at the start of your fight. So I love that even in that situation you've got all this different stuff going on. Now, you'll notice at the bottom left of everyone's health bars, generally speaking on the enemy side anyway, there's going to be a little crystal. That is their stagger meter. So this will be different on different encounters. Like standard enemies, it basically is like if they're hit by the thing that they're weak against, they're going to get put into a stagger state, which gets rid of their turn, and additionally cause them to take additional damage. Because this guy's a boss, a sort of champion variant, it actually is more so that he is particularly only weak to combos rather than a particular element. So he gets 2 attacks, but he has to be hit 11 times in a single turn in order to go and stagger him, which is surprisingly possible. In fact, one of the things that I really loved from the live stream that they were doing on this game on the demo's release is talking about a story when one of the playtesters apparently took advantage of the fact that you can, like, you inch very slightly off the screen every time you're hit by something. They decided to see how far they could take that and set up a string of combos of like 200 attacks at once to make the thing go off the screen, which is just wild. Anyway, so what we're going to do in this particular case is we're just going to go ahead and set up this this bubble trick over here so that we have that side attack. So we're going to attack this guy. We're going to do a couple of attacks, which puts that down to 9 for that stagger meter. We also are going to do 1 follow-up attack here. Additionally, we're going to go ahead and use this item that we picked up earlier in order to try and break his poise. So any actions that your Aethermancer takes are effectively just your own action, so you can just sort of do that whenever. However, it can't be at the end of your turn. And you'll notice that we're generating ether up there at the very top. So those are those points that allow for everything to happen. So you can do basic attacks, which will generate additional sort of mana for you to use, or you can use other attacks, which will use them, for their particular ends here. Anyways, we're just gonna go ahead and use this in order to redirect aggro towards our tank. We're gonna go ahead and use this roar, and we're gonna go ahead and hit him a couple of times. Additionally, we're going to make sure that our toughest guy is taking the biggest hits here, and then we'll go ahead and take those follow-up attacks from before in order to get this guy really close to staggering. So he's going to go ahead and hit that guy over there. Man, I love this music here. And he's going to go ahead and tank some hits for everybody, as you do. This isn't as crazy as the team that I originally wanted to do this video on, but they died immediately into that video. So, whoops. Anyways, here, let's go ahead and shield this guy with our free action. So, you'll notice that as you're generating points, there's a lot of things that can be done as free actions or as team-up actions or whatever else. And so this means that you've got a lot of opportunities to really just absolutely cheese the system, and it just feels so good. Anyway, we'll go ahead and stagger this guy. He's going to try to get rid of some of our ether and stuff in a little bit of a moment. But we'll just go ahead and... Probably should have bubble tricked earlier to get more attacks out of this, shouldn't I? Shame. Oh, well. He's probably going to get his return action here. No, not yet. Okay, it's going to be next round then. Yeah, when somebody breaks out of their particular stagger there, they actually end up getting a debuff that they apply to everybody, which just allows them to make a big swinging comeback, as it were. Anyways, we'll go ahead and shield and roar and whatever else to go ahead and make sure that our tank is tanking real good. And we'll use this guy's copying ability to actually get rid of some of his ether here. So this is one of those things that I really, really love about this jackalope-looking guy. So here, what's his name again? I always forget his name because it's like something German or something. It's like Volpentinger, I think is how you pronounce that. Volpentinger? I don't know. I call him Jackalope-looking guy. Anyway, so he copied that Purge, which was the move that this guy did earlier, which gets rid of one ether when they're hit by it, and as you see by that shattering icon at the very top, this means that he actually won't have enough points to use one of his moves there. So we'll get him closer to staying in that permanent stagger. We'll do a little bit of extra damage to him, and we'll go ahead and degrade that attack down to a basic attack, as well as getting another team-up attack over there, which further ends up removing 2 debuffs, which further ends up healing him. I love the amount of combos here, because just to explain one turn, it can take you half a damn hour. Oh man, you gotta love it. You gotta love it. Anyway, so he did his big turnaround move. He's up to 14 once again, and so we'll have to do something about that. Anyways, we'll re-tankify our tank, take our heal, take our shield, take our damage buff over there, apply some weakness to this guy with a couple of attacks. We'll go ahead and probably Ice Smash. Now we'll just roar because we really want that stagger to be coming back so that we get our damage multiplier. We'll apply that on there. Let's see. Yeah, he got rid of his previous move, so we'll just go ahead and bubble trick him so that we can hopefully stagger him next round. But yeah, this gets absolutely nuts. Like this, obviously we don't necessarily need to be starting off with a boss fight, but I love that that we have stuff like this. And additionally, it's worth noting that every one of these bosses is going to be, at least as far as I'm aware so far, are going to be creatures that you can similarly use. So, like, I already have this guy in my group, but let's say as soon as you stagger somebody, you can actually collect them by using this capture command down here. Now, I don't have any blank mementos to use for this, so once I get a hold of one of those, we'll be able to do more with that. Ooh, what's this? Volcanic Guard, shields self for 2 to 6, applies redirect to self, retaliate, triggers a 2x4 fire and earth damage attack against the enemy. Yes, please. Except we can't afford it. Dang it. Let's see. Let's see. Fire and water. Okay, we don't have any way to generate the points for that, unfortunately. There are ways to generate stuff that you don't normally have. Like there's what's known as a wild ether that just sort of randomly picks one, I think. But we'll just apply some weakness regularly, and we'll do some other follow-up attacks in a little bit of a moment. So we'll get our follow-up attack there. We'll go ahead and add a little bit more. He gets that Volcanic Guard going. We don't really need to redirect anything, do we? Yeah, that's not going to be necessarily enough there. Do we just do some basics? I guess we just do some basics. Why not? See, he's very close to staggering, so one more basic should stagger him, should get rid of his secondary move there. And let's see, bubble trick. Yeah, we'll just apply the bubble trick. There we go, we get our stagger, we get our follow-up attack for next round, and we're good to go. Yeah, the previous round that I was doing here that ended up getting lost, I ended up having a full sidekick focus team, so it was just like literally everybody applies sidekick on everything all the time. They happened to find some items that generated additional sidekick and started off with initial sidekick on the team and stuff like that. Oh, it's good stuff. It's good stuff. Let's see. Shields, cleanses debuffs. Yeah, we do have some debuffs active. Applies redirect to self. Yes, please. This guy is currently down to one move, and we probably should be taking advantage of that, but also we're just going to go ahead and keep weakening him for the moment. Apply more weakness stacks, as it were. You do get to stack things to a pretty extreme degree in a lot of cases. I'll go ahead and take our sort of safety heal on this guy for the moment, because as much as I was feeling safe last time around with everybody at, you know, about halfway full health, surely they won't be able to pull out a string of combos that just annihilates the entire team. Oh no, they absolutely will. So, just as you can do crazy combos, they can as well, so you always kind of gotta expect that stuff will go wrong. Like in this particular case, they're not only spreading weakness, but they're using a move that consistently ends up purging a lot of our points over and over. So to that end, we'll also do the same to him. There we go. I love that he just sort of scratches himself in order to do that. It's like I'm just being adorable while all your nonsense goes away. Let's go ahead and... Are we using those points for everything? Let's see. Can cleanse debuffs, or we can smash... Yeah, we're still going to have enough left over even if we use this. I'm going to go ahead and shield up on you, just because it is a free action, and that is going to potentially heal him up a decent bit. Apply a bit more weakness in this guy's direction. Should deal with that secondary action to some degree, and then smash a little bit just to have that triple attack going. I thought I had another sidekick on my jackalope, but not so much. Oh, actually, a little bit of a side note here on names. So you can actually rename them, but not in the demo. So the interesting thing about this is because all of these creatures are actually the same creature, like even when they die and you bring their soul back, it's still the same guy. You actually have a sort of permanent system that's called worthiness. So it's basically how much they think you're worthy, more or less. And as you end up using them, as you end up training them and reusing them and stuff like that, they actually have a sort of permanent level that goes up over time, which allows you to customize certain aspects of them. And once you actually name them and stuff like that, which you will be able to do in the full release, you can actually notice that they will keep their same nickname and stuff like that, so that's just kind of neat. Anyway, let's try to purge this dude, hopefully get rid of all of his green points so that he doesn't... Okay, yeah, that did actually purge both of them, so good. Whatever it was that triggered that assisted in that particular regard did end up sorting out that problem. So we're just going to go ahead and heal and shield. Heal? You know what? Whatever, that works. It's a stupid way of putting it, but it'll work. We'll go ahead and stagger this guy. And if it sounds like I'm not 100% clear on all of the mechanics, you can absolutely bet that I am absolutely not 100% clear on all the mechanics yet. I'm still learning. There's a lot to learn, but there's a lot of fun in this system. Trying to compare it as much as I can with what I know, but again, there's going to be a lot to potentially cover. Anyway, we'll do that here. We'll do a bubble trick next, and then we should be able to finish him off with the next attack, and then hopefully overkill him, which I think still gives you additional goodies like it did Monster Sanctuary. There we go, do that, and apparently we're not going to do the sidekick. Fine, fine. I see how it is. I see how it is. Got 10 gold, 10 ether crystals, and this is when we get to worthiness here. So as you have them complete challenges, as you have them, complete boss fights and stuff like that, you get additional worthiness. And so, for example, you get a bonus for beating a boss, but for the amount of damage, they also get a bonus for the amount of actions that you prevent, for the amount of damage that you prevent, the amount of damage that you healed and stuff like that. You actually get points for everything across the board in terms of paying attention to what you're doing, as well as even generating additional ether, potentially even if you didn't necessarily need it. Additionally, experience. I love the way that experience is handled in this, because you don't have the annoying bullshit that is, hey, it's 100 experience to level up. Oh, well, the first one was 48, the second one was 49. I guess you're doing a third fight. Instead, it's just you have a certain number of ticks that happens. Whether, let's say, you take part in an event and they're like, oh, you get one experience. It's just like one tick of bar of the experience, all right? You don't have to worry about the pennies, as it were. You just get that amount. Or you beat a boss fight and you get 2 ticks, whatever that potentially means. let's see, we get free sidekick action. Or 3x3 damage, purges 1 ether. On interrupt, shields all allies for 2x3. So this is like if you stagger somebody, that's an interrupt. And again, I love that it explains all of this. And, like, it just basically breaks out the manual. Like, we are absolutely rules lawyering the shit right now. Like, we are going through everything. But yeah. Anyways, so yeah, and one of those other interruptions is if they get interrupted from being able to use an action's cost. So, for example, if they do purge, and this is a very interesting move. I don't know necessarily if I want to pay that cost right now, but it might be really good versus bosses. I really like this charge up though because I love sidekick. Let's see, 4x3 against the target and purges 2 enemy ether. Actually, that is, yeah, drown actually sounds great. I want that. Drowning is always fun. But yeah, no, that is a whole lot of purging. I love the purge mechanic in general. Actually, there was one of those events right there that gave 1 experience. But yeah, like there's just good stuff everywhere. And anyways, once you complete certain areas, that's when you have potentially other areas that you can go and kind of warp into to go explore. I don't see anything over there, but there is potentially a new zone over here that allows us to do something. It shows a cooking pot, so maybe there's some kind of crafting thing or whatever else we can do over there. Honestly, I have no idea. But we'll find out in a little bit of a moment. I don't see any other areas that I've missed just yet. I probably am, but we're just going to go ahead and go this way and see what we run into. Oh, so it looks like we just got our camp. So at our camp, we have our merchant, who's going to go ahead and do our usual type of stuff. These guys do have a bunch of lore attached to them and whatever else. But yeah, we're not primarily talking about lore here today, and there's going to be a lot more lore in the full release. So that's kind of when I'm planning to get into all that. So let's see what we got here. We got a soul for a creature if we want it. We got some common armor. Let's see, regeneration, healing +1. I feel like I kind of want that for my Volpertinger over there. For reasons. Let's see, heals all of your monsters 5/5, cleanses 5 corruption. Yes, absolutely. Ooh, what's this? Let's see, 75% chance of getting an extra action, and additionally generates additional earth. I think that's actually one of the things. Yeah, that is one of the items that I had on that sidekick run, where it just kept generating additional actions, but every time they acted, one of the buffs was interacting in a way that it caused them to get additional buffs added to the party, which then caused Sidekick to keep popping up, which then caused it to keep critting, which then caused it to keep doing other stuff. It was great. But let's see. Regeneration, healing +1. Like, let's see. Like, what does that look like for you? Let's see. On support action, cleanses 2 debuffs and applies 1 temporary power. Yeah, actually, no. Never mind. Regeneration. What about you? All allies gain 5%. You know what? Actually, just replace that. Because crits are crits, but maybe not. Anyway, we'll go ahead and buy an extra soul over there as well. And additionally, we can see that if we go and activate this thing, we can potentially gain access to some of our sort of banked creatures, as it were. So this guy we have as a memento rather. Basically means that they're like a one-time rebirth. And then we have some others that are sort of freebies, as it were. And all of these have fun, kind of unique mechanics. Like this one was just a really fun one. The goo, the ooze. So applies 2 poison to yourself. Whenever poison triggers on this monster, enemies also take damage from it. So effectively, they are poisoning themselves in order to poison everybody else around them. Kind of like the total opposite of, what was it, like Toxic Ooze or something like that build. In Pokemon there, where you would heal from poison. In this particular case, you're intentionally poisoning yourself to poison everybody else around. And so what they would do is they take a bunch of large poisonous AoEs, constantly heal their own party, and then constantly poison the enemy party, and then additionally poison themselves in order to poison everybody else even harder. I love that. I love that so dang much. The only reason I'm not using it currently is because, honestly, why am I not using it currently? Like, the tank guy is useful, true, but also, you know what, screw it, let's just, you know what, tank guy, you've been alright, but, it's ooze time now. Yes, I know we just bought armor for him, but we need some ooze. So let's see. On Earth action from any ally applies poison to each enemy. That's, yes, we're using a lot of Earth moves, so absolutely. Let's see. Polluted Ether on attack consumes up to 1 Earth Ether to deal 5 damage hit and apply 5 poison to the target enemy. Interesting. Or Aura, as long as this monster has redirect, allies gain +1 defense and shielding. No thanks, but this sounds great. We're already running Earth. Let's see, Poison Wave, 2 to 3 damage against all enemies, applies 3 poison to all enemies, or shields all allies for 3/3, cleanses 3 debuffs. I think that's the one I just had, or applies 6 poison. I feel like Winter Guard is the one we're going to end up using more here, so we'll apply that one, and there we go. We've given away all of our tanking potential in order to have the poison goo. And then we'll go over here and make a meal. So, 20 corruption was cleansed from your monsters for taking a bit of a nap here, and this is when we get to move onto the new zone. Because once you beat a boss, you get your camp scene, and then you move on to a new area. So in this case, this is going to be the Forbidden Fortress, the second of the 3 areas in the demo. Ooh, what's this guy? So, what do we have here? Another one of those ghastly void creatures. So yeah, an Aethermancer actually means I mean you no harm. See, your kind doesn't come around Pilgrim's Rest very often, do they? I probably should have mentioned, by the way, all these dudes are like gigantic monster creatures. Apparently the city that got taken over is full of them. So I guess people are just the weird ones here. Let's see. At least they didn't show up to my restaurant. That would make sense. Our kind doesn't eat or drink. Okay, they are not people. They are literally just void creatures. See, how ghastly. Well, I suppose we won't have much to talk about then. Goodbye, unless those monsters of yours happen to have a better appetite. Certainly, what did you have in mind? Let's see, my dishes bring out the best in your monsters, I just know it. If they can stomach it, that is, I never hold back on my spices. Fair enough, you know what? The more spices on that chicken, the better. Let's see, grant Volpertinger random experience between 2 and 3 at the cost of 7 corruption. I'm almost certainly doing that. Or you refuse and clear 5 corruption instead. Yes. I want to get that perk from before. Perfect. I can tell it worked by the look in their eyes. Volpertinger gained 3 experience. Gimme that level. Alright, what do we got? Let's see, make a double sidekick attacks from allies, deal 2x2 damage hits. Retaliate if this monster has 75% or more health, purges 1 enemy ether. I think that's probably what we're going with. Or poise purging, whenever this monster purges or steals ether, breaks 1 poise of the same element on all enemies? Ooh, you know what? I kind of want this first, though, because they're usually at high health. So we'll go ahead and make that happen. Okay, actually, I don't know if the 75% is of the maximum or not. Also, another little side note here, as far as just, like, loving the animations and stuff like that, I love how even the cobwebs move. It's just so good. So dang good. You can tell, like, somebody was absolutely, in love with their game when they were making it. Now, in these situations where there's a bunch of tall things that happen to be in the way, you can probably expect that there's going to be an ambush somewhere. I don't know where just yet, but it feels like there's one coming. Let's see what's this. This pentagram holds a dark power that is not native to Terrastay. It is a sacred place dedicated to something grander and far older than our world. Let's see, you stand before the pentagram of forced rebirth. It allows you to rebirth any one of your monsters by force. They will be reborn as the same monster, but all of their corruption will be cleansed, and all their skills will be reset. A large payment of gold is required for a complete rebirth, which results in no EXP loss. You may choose to perform an incomplete birth, but your monster will end up 3 less experience than it has now. Don't have enough gold for that. Well, I think we're good. We don't need the respec machine right now. Alright. And you can always zoom around if you would prefer. It just feels good. Zoop, zoop, zoop everywhere. So, as far as other uses for this, there are situations when you can stay on the kind of higher level of an area. There we go, there's the parry, and there's the ambush. Like I said, they were coming. Also, this place has, like, trans-dimensional lobsters, which is awesome. Anyway, let's see here. I want that lobster thing. I don't know what it is. I haven't gotten one yet. We're going to use this thing to break some of its poise, and additionally, let's see what we got here. Let's see, applies 2 poison to all allies, heals all allies. We'll use this in a bit of a moment. This counts as an earth move, which we need for reasons. that'll give him some poison. I don't know what else we can do to potentially break him down here, but we'll find that out over time. Let's go ahead and shield up this guy as a free action. And so give him a little bit of a buff, get a little stuff and such gone, and then go after the transdimensional lobster. Alright, so they're downed a little bit, and okay, they're just going to do a basic attack plus an extra attack. I don't know if I actually can do anything else versus that guy. I don't know. The stagger system is definitely the way that you do a lot of stuff, and I think they went down a little bit. God, I love that animation. It is so fucking cool. Seriously, I love that lobster thing. Oh yeah, we can use the scroll again. So use that. We'll go ahead and try to capture him next turn. So we'll stagger him for that particular effect because I'm completely not set up for that element right now. Let's probably start off with shield. Actually, wait a minute. Hold up. Where was it? So first of all, drown. Drown this guy so that we can... Is this going to be enough? Let's see. That burned a couple of their things. They're still going to have enough points left over by the looks of it. So we'll see if we can do something about that in a moment. Do the whole poison thing versus this guy. We'll... You know, just weaken him for now. And we'll try to capture him next turn, because I don't want to potentially see any side effects from this whole thing. As far as timings and exact specific issues that we may run into, there's going to be times when I'm completely misreading stuff. Again, this is all new to me, okay? This is all completely fresh right now. Alright, let's see. Heals all allies for 5, cleanses 5 corruption. We probably want to use this. There we go. Now from you, removes 3 debuffs, applies redirect to self. I don't think so. Maybe we just do the heal and poison, possibly. Don't know for sure. Let's say applies to terror. This would do quite a bit. Actually, shoot, I forgot to capture the guy. Dang it. Well, whoopsie. I guess we're not getting that. Maybe he'll still be staggered next turn. We'll see. Then again, it's not Tactics Ogre. Fear is not going to prevent capture. Let's see. Heals everybody. I don't think we want to do that, but we can potentially poison this guy. I don't think that's... Yeah, there we go. 7 poison. That's close to enough. Bubble Trick. We'll Bubble Trick this guy so that he gets a sidekick, and then we'll attack the guy in the back. Because the poison should definitely finish this guy off, and then we'll weaken this one, who's doing some kind of fist move, and presumably the weaken will end up helping versus that situation. There we go. Stagger him to prevent him from acting. The one at the top is charging up an attack. The poison will take out that one. Let's see. Yeah, he did take a reset. Damn. Well, so much for capturing my cool transdimensional lobster, I suppose, and there he goes. So there's the poison gone. Oh yeah, I don't have a memento anyway, so that wouldn't do any good, so just heal this dude for now. There we go, finish this thing off. We probably didn't need to do all of that, but oh well. Anyway. Yeah, don't need to do the shield thing. Yeah, just go for one of these. Just because I want to see how this works real quick. Alright, that's workable. I can see that definitely backfiring very quickly. But it feels like that's what the ooze is built for. In fact, that's probably one of the reasons that you can't have an entire team of one thing, because, like, could you imagine 3 oozes? It's like, oh, just go ahead and apply 20 stacks of poison to yourself. Oh, well, entire enemy team just got instantly deleted. Whoopsie. Alright, let's see. Leeching Bond. Whenever 1 or more regeneration stacks are consumed, deals 8 water to all enemies with weakness? That's so very oddly specific, but I love that. See, for every 50 healing of your allies generates 1 wild ether. I don't think we're built for that. When regeneration triggers on an ally with full health, applies power to them. Triggers up to twice per monster per combat. I think Leeching Bond's the way we're going to go, because I've been using weakness a lot, I've been using regeneration. So there's that. And we'll take our Jotun scroll, or soul. Words are hard. You know what? Words are very difficult. Who uses those anyways? It's all about the numbers these days. Anything up here? Apparently not. We'll hop on down. Alright, I love how the camera scrolls over and I still expect one of these to... Nope, nope. Well, messed that up completely, so... that's going to be one of our dudes, potentially in a bit of trouble. Let's see. That's corruption, that is the other thing. Minus 2 poison, yeah, poison the lobster. Probably should be looking for a stagger here. But I'm going to start off with the lobster, and additionally we're going to apply some weakness to you, so that hopefully we can get this guy taken into a stagger next round, because I don't think I have enough earth moves to really do much with that right at this second. And let's see. I'll just up our sidekick, I think. I just love, again, the fact that it's just like they're doing a sidekick through a cloud of bubbles. I'm assuming it came from the same mentality that I always had growing up. Like whenever you're getting your first, Goldeen or whatever else over in Pokemon, I'm just like, why Bubble? What is Bubble doing? And then I saw the show for the first time well after playing the game, and they're like literally just blowing bubbles on something, and those bubbles pop particularly hard, and like, that's actually kind of dumb. But this idea of just sidekicking through a cloud of bubbles, that is so unnecessarily badass. I love it. Anyways, go ahead and poisonify this dude. I'm almost hoping the team gets wiped, though, because one of those things that I really, 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 really enjoy that I haven't had a chance to actually show off here yet is actually over in the hub town. So Hermit's Rest. There's this dancing scarecrow guy that I was like, I had to go and message the devs. I'm like, dude, I need this dude on my team. Like, there's just this scarecrow guy that just laughs at you. Like, the dude literally is just there, just laughing, and I could have sworn that it was directly laughing, like, only when you were facing him. So I tried, or when you weren't facing him, rather, so I tried looking away, and it didn't do it, so I don't know. Also, what's your element again? Earth and water, so you should be good doing this guy, and hopefully we have I don't know if we have a stack of sidekicks set up, but if we do, then it will die. Well, it'll be dead from poison anyway. Get some regeneration, you get some poison. We should have that auto-poison, but not poison, but it's our poison that's also their poison. I think that triggers next round. So let's see, they did all that, and there we go. 5 damage on everybody. Beautiful. Let's see. What are we doing here? So, like, I feel like this shield, like, the synergy that keeps coming to mind when I see this guy is, like, have him mass poison everybody and then unpoison ourselves, but they kind of got around that because of the fact that your own poison triggers at the start of your turn, not at the end. Anyway. Do we do this to dump poison on everybody? I don't know yet. But this guy is about to do some fancy moves, and we can do our double Aether Purge on this guy, so let's get rid of those. Alright, now he's down to 1 move. Now we can Snow Charm you, give you a little bit of extra shielding, then we'll be okay with a couple of basic attacks, I think. Probably apply some weakness to maybe this guy, because that's... I don't have any wind moves left. This will generate water and earth, which won't necessarily help us. Well, one of y'all needs to go finish off this guy before he becomes a problem again. So we'll get rid of him. And then this guy looks like he's about to do something. This guy looks like he's about to guard up, so we'll go ahead and do this on this one, and then we'll apply a wind move to him next turn to stagger him, and then hopefully we can deal with Shieldy Guy at that time. Also, I love the fact that this dude just attacks with soup. It's just so cool. I wish I had one of those capturable dealies, because I kind of want Soup Guy, too. Like, seriously, all of the designs are so damn cool. Oh, man. Let's see. Retaliate Brace. Okay, so you can retaliate at that point. I don't know how you get more blank mementos. Like, I guess you buy them? I don't know. I guess we'll find out. Anyway, let's go ahead and shield, redirect, and apply multiple thingies over here. So fire triggers whenever you're doing your turn, so I was kind of hoping that would prevent that from happening, but we'll go ahead and use our heal on our goo. We must heal the goo. And, let's see. We don't have any wind moves left. You've got a water for your sidekick here. But we can copy his boiling soup, so there is that. Consume all cooking stacks, apply 4 burn for each enemy stack. And this does actually partially stagger this guy, so that's something. So well as an additional hit over there. Puts him down to 1. Yeah, our poise breaking thing is currently unavailable. That won't do anything. Yeah, we're kind of in a bit of an iffy spot at the moment. Hell, we might actually get to see that hub town. We might actually get to see it. Because that transdimensional lobster is no joke. Let's see, lava soup. Yeah, they really are just, like, absolutely stacking out my goo right now. Why did I... Yeah, he does not make a good tank, it turns out. That move was not a good choice on him. Okay, let's see. Wind move this guy, partially deal with his poise. I was kind of hoping he would do his little extra dealy there. Go ahead and do some weakness on this guy. He's still bracing, but that weakness seems to be keeping him somewhat pinned. I think we'll go ahead and replace our monster guy in a bit of a moment. This dude's cooking up shields for his friend. It's nuts. Alright, round 6. Now, I wonder if we're going to have a round counter like before. So, one of those things that was there in Monster Sanctuary is that if you have a round counter, like after a certain point, everyone just starts getting really intensified damage so that the fight ends quicker. Let's see, heals target for 2.5, applies 2.5. Okay, so it's like a non-free action version of this, so no. You're going to go for this and see if that extra hit triggers, which I... Oh, damn. Well, that's not going to help. That's not going to do it at all. Well, shoot. Then regenerate yourself. Take some regeneration stacks, take some buffs, buff yourself for next round. This guy is still taking poison damage, which is at least making us some progress. We've got a counter purge on their moves. They're down to 1. That should reduce some of the effectiveness of their actions, but they're still looking pretty okay there. We don't have the points to get refreshment going. For that, we need... What the hell do we need for that? We're missing 1 water. So if this guy attacks, he generates some water. That decently hurts that guy. So that generates some water, that gives us regeneration. Or we just use the cheaper version to just go and shield instead. That was one of the reasons that it was picked for him, was specifically for that economy choice. Just weaken him, I suppose. Not that there's much of a choice in the matter, it seems. Although it seems like the buff still gets through anyway. Right, you just take a basic attack on him. That generates some additional points for next round. Get that lava soup going. And, like, this is just random encounters. I think that's one of the things that makes this so enjoyable, is because it's really only a small handful of encounters per zone, but they are way, 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 way more thought-intensive than you would kind of initially expect, you know? Anyways, we'll go ahead and do one of these to give him a little bit of a buff there, see what we end up getting. Whatever that was. We'll see if we can wind kick this guy and maybe stagger him. There we go, we got the stagger off, so that should reduce some of their offensive potential for next turn, and then hopefully next turn we can just break through these guys. Should be able to use our cheaper heal to get Mr. Totally Not a Jackalope into better position here, or we'll just use Refreshment to get rid of some of that corruption, hopefully, too. And then go ahead and finish this dude off. Fantastic, I love that bonus beating stick. I know it says it's a staff, but it's the beating stick in my mind. Alright, let's get more regeneration going. Do we even... Actually, can you copy... Yeah, you've got lava soup, so you can just... Like, that's, again, one of those reasons I love that move. Whenever somebody is a counter to something you don't... Or countered by something you don't have, they might already have the counter with them, and that's just such a fun mechanic, dude. That thing is by far my favorite. I love that move. I love that move so dang much. Let's see. Actions prevented, Aether generated, damage healed. Like, this just feels so cool. I love that. And that's just one random encounter. We are down a dude, though, so... Let's see if we can just kind of get out of here. Get some additional experience for our dude. Are there going to be more fights, or what? It's kind of weirding me out over here. I'm expecting more ambushes. Yeah, we're at the end of the zone, so we'll get another dude. What do we got this way? Next zone, random NPC, or there's an envoy, or there's an Aether Spring. I think that's the one that gives you a bunch of buffs. Although it's also a... Is it a different color? No, it isn't. I was going to say, it looked more blue, but I think it's just when you get closer. I don't remember what the envoy is, so I'm going to go over here next And this thing that was supposed to be a 20-minute video on just explaining the basics turned into I can't put it down, so we've got that going on. Let's see what we got here. Yes. Because that was another member of the sidekick squad. So automatically leveled up to make sure that they're doing good. So let's see, cleanse 2 debuffs, or for every 3 power applied to allies generates 1 random. No, for every 50. All right, fine. Cleanse debuffs. What else? On interrupt applies power to self. Could work. He actually has a move that's good for that. Heals all allies. Cleanse 2 debuffs. Applies 2 sidekick to self. Hell yes. Give that back. And sidekicks from attacks deal extra the damage, essentially extra hits and stuff like that. Well, let's see. For every 15 healing this monster receives, apply sidekick to self. Or for every 3 support action, applies power to self. Okay, we're going to make it double, and then we're going to see about the other one at some point. But I want more sidekick stacks. So we'll go ahead and get our wolf buddy back. Let's start heading over this direction, see what we run into. Our one guy is in very rough shape, and there is also an alarm I forgot to turn off. Of course. Of course there is. I love the fact that you don't actually have to circle around and grab things. They'll just sort of chase you down. Very risk of rain of you. But yeah, I did want to cover that home base a little bit, though, so maybe we will get wiped at some point, because the home base reminds me of, like, what would happen if you combine the town from, like, Shiren the Wanderer and combined it with Majula from Dark Souls 2, and that is a vibe I can 100% get behind. Oh, you're the other one there. Okay, so Forbidden Fortress, last line of defense for Vigil, the Holy City. Okay, proud nation of Goldland, once the seat of the Goltic Empire in the past, sought to reclaim their glory. So yeah, do you love cryptic Souls-like lore? Well, there's that. Also, apparently he upgraded our item because I was too busy talking and not paying attention. Let's see, we got some monsters over there. Get some other stuff over in this direction. I wonder if I can maybe find some way to purge some stuff about them, because I do want to take those fights, but also do I, though? Maybe we do. Alright. Maybe we hop on down there. Let's see, that'll... Yeah, that should be a pretty immediate one. We have fire moves. We do have fire moves at this point, but we also have wind moves, which should allow for immediately breaking this guy, just like we did last time. Granted, it was extremely late in the fight, and I should have gotten onto that sooner, but it did technically happen, so, you know, there's that. Alright, also we get a chromatic scroll for immediately breaking something. In fact, let's see what we got on hand right now. So we started off with all these. We can purge 2, which should cripple them right away. So let's go ahead and get rid of this guy immediately. Just kind of absolutely cripple their action economy. Take some counters as you do, but still, that's some pretty solid value. I think we'll just go ahead and use the scroll there to immediately break this guy, because he's already at 3. So we'll stagger him, and then we'll take 2 basic attacks against this guy in order to generate some stuff. Let's see, yeah, we'll just do that. So there we go. So now we have a bunch of extra points for ourselves, a bunch less for them, and we're good. We got lots of glowy balls. But yeah, they're down to basic attacks, so that's good, although they're also hitting pretty darn hard, so that is less ideal. But do I have... I don't have the thing that lets me capture somebody. I do have a heal move, so go ahead and heal our wolf. What do we got here? Alka Pounds, or 4x4 against enemy. On interrupt applies 2 age to self. What does that mean? I don't know. Or get rid of more points. So just absolutely devastate somebody. I'm thinking maybe Soupman for this. Yeah, go ahead and get Mr. Soupman gone. Get rid of 2 of their fire points. Alright, what else? We can apply weakness. Probably should apply weakness to this guy. There we go. And then what do we got over here? Fire Fang applies sidekick to self and also burns somebody. Also, should allow for starting to break this guy's poise. So he's going to heal a little bit. We're going to take a whole bunch of hits here. Hopefully, again, not getting wiped, but we'll see. We'll see. These things can go south very, very exceptionally quickly, as you saw. Yeah, I think we're going to use another one of those stagger scrolls next round, because that's looking a little rough right now. Fire Fang this dude. Actually, that should be enough to stagger right there. Applies 2 terror stacks. I don't have any more fire follow-up, so we'll just go ahead and stagger him by default. There we go. Item says bye-bye. What's next? Yeah, 1 free action over here to shield you. Do that, so we get a little bit of extra health there, because he's in very, very rough shape right now. Get the Spore going to get that follow-up attack going. That's nice, but do we have any follow-up wind moves? Or earth moves, rather, because I can't stop messing those up. I mean, this might count. I don't know. It might. It did not count. Okay. So he was attacking as wind, apparently. Not as Earth, but it's fine. If everybody survives, and that's a very big if. Okay, so he can't even act right now. If our plant guy acts, he dies. He's dead anyway, so I guess at least that's one less thing to worry about. Bye-bye, plant. You will be missed. Well, more so dust, more so ashes, because the whole fire burning thing. But still, details, details. Let's see, lava soup consumes all cooking stacks. Nifty, but also can really potentially break this guy. Will you have enough? Let's see, you can do a decent bit to that guy. One basic enough to finish this guy? Do it. What happened there? Why did he not finish him? I guess fire, because the fire is going to finish him off. Okay, let's see. Applies 5 affliction to enemy and self. And then we'll lava soup this guy, maybe. Let's see, apply 1 weakness and 2 burn. Which should help. This might still be survivable, maybe? I guess we'll find out. Okay, so he burns himself. That guy's going to burn himself for a little bit, like the bat's going to burn himself for a little bit. Alright, and... Alright, they're out of their stagger, so everyone gets hit with Terror. I still don't really know for sure what Terror does. Applies 4 Shriek, or applies 5 Affliction. Maybe instead... It won't be enough to finish him off. Let's see. Let's see, let's see. I could put him down to 4. That could just finish him off right now. Okay, do that. Nice. Basically got micro missiles. Now, do we have a wind move to stagger this guy? No. Don't have any heals. Don't have any anything. Okay, just don't... This is like, don't attack the wolf, okay? I need it for stuff. Don't attack the wolf. The other guy's in not much better shape, but maybe don't. Alright? Well, shoot. Anyways, he's gone, so whatever we're running into, we're probably getting wiped. There is no run command, though, so there's that, too. Let's go ahead and put him down to a basic attack. Give him a drown. Alright, so some goodies happen there. Gets a basic attack. We're still in really rough shape, because just health is disappearing non-stop. Pretty much consumed by all of the corruption at this point. Applies 3 terror. I don't know what that's going to help us with, necessarily. Right, do that in case we can stagger him. We can't actually stagger him with a wind kick here, so do that. Should definitely have done that sooner. It's fine. Ignore the stupidity, alright? Ignore the stupidity on display. Don't believe your lying eyes. Drown him some more to get rid of all these points that he's trying to use. Alright, fantastic, and that's why I love that move so much, because it lets you have a lot of additional utility. If I could have 3 of these guys, I would. Burn, okay, just barely enough to survive that. We can't survive any turns after, but I want to see what Shriek does, because it looks cool, probably. Okay. Either way, he's gone, he got some stuff back, he is in extremely rough shape. Cool. Well, we got some stuff there, we got an extra level. Let's see, on interrupt, deals 6 damage to that enemy. That's quite a lot. Aggressive purging on every 4 attacks, purges 1 ether, or for every 3 ether purged or stolen by this monster applies power. I feel like this, because he does seem to interrupt a decent bit, so that would be good. Gain talisman. Whenever a buff is applied to this monster, 15 chance to apply that same buff. Cannot trigger with itself. No, I think we're good. I think we're good with the beating stick. I like that thing. Hopefully this is just the exit up here, otherwise might be in a little bit of trouble. But again, that's the cool thing about roguelikes, that every now and then you'll just have the ability to do some tricky stuff. See if I can maybe aggro them this way. Oh, shoot, no, you... Once they find you, they just find you. You can't actually leave. Well, guess who's ready to go see the hub world? Maybe I just got trapped on something and didn't realize it, but that seems to be the place. Anyway, so nice to see you, Mr. Jackalope. We'll see you in another reality in a bit of a moment. Otherwise, you are about to thoroughly get your ass beat. I'm sorry. So there's that. Now, that's what happens when you get dead. So we'll just go ahead and return to Pilgrim's Rest then. And we get to this place, man. Like, I love the sound of this place. I love the look of this place. Just, like, seriously, the aesthetics of this place are absolutely beautiful. This is the kind of place that, honestly, I don't know why we're trying to save that other city, because legit, like, just let me stay here. But yeah, any NPCs that you rescue along the way will show up here, like this dude over here. I guess he doesn't have a portrait. I don't know what his deal is, but yeah, they'll show up in this town doing the usual hub world kind of stuff as you'd expect. This is the guy that I was talking about, just like the laughing scarecrow. Let me add this dude on my team, please. I don't know if he's not there yet, but if he's not there yet, please let me do that. I don't know if there's going to be more down there. It feels like it's kind of intended to be. But anyways, let's go over to... Actually, wait a minute. Let me go to the soul-binding lady, the soul-binding frog lady, and have a little bit of a chat with you real quick. Lots of lore. I apologize for skipping past the lore. We'll be covering that. But for the time being, not as much. Let's see. Soulbind and Ooze, yes, because that was quite a fun one, as well as this Mandragora. So this basically, seemingly, allows you to pick them as your starter whenever you're going off on another journey. So if you have somebody that you like, you can kind of permanently add them to your team, I think. Let's see. Also, one thing that they did mention is that you have all your tools to actually beat the thing right from the get-go. That they wanted to make sure that while there is sort of like a meta progression kind of thing, they let you know where it is and to potentially avoid it. And all of this other stuff is just sort of here if you want to interact with it, but if you wanted to stay at your like base stuff, like I know whenever there's full release, I intend to try and do it at base everything. Then yeah, you do have that option. So that's pretty darn awesome, I think. Let's see. Let's start with one additional random soul at the start. Once per run, if the monsters would die, it gets saved from death and is set to 25% health rounded up. Or improve your monster flask charges, or the amount that they heal, which is fine. I feel like an extra soul is probably the way to go here. Or they gain 10% bonus total worthiness after each fight rounded up. And that probably is going to be the most like worthwhile value in general. But dude, I love the way that you start off runs. Like, when it comes to a lot of roguelike/roguelites that use this sort of getting back into the world formula, there's a lot of different ways that they go about it. I mean, like, again, you got, like, a very similar feel to the town and Sharon the Wanderer and stuff like that. But this, dude, this Vista, I love this. Because this, again, reminds me of, like, the kind of how DS2 did it, of just, like, you can see stuff out there, but immediately you kind of want to get into it, but... Again, you just hit the button to go hop into the thing immediately. I love the visuals on display here. You see the gigantic threat looming off in the background. You see your journey to get there. You see the keep, for example, that we ran into partway through. You saw the forest that we started our journey in. And presumably that last area is, you know, the last area. But dude, I love that. And the fact that you just sort of hop into this whole thing right from the start, you know? Anyway, let's just go Ooze this time. And then they just hop in and they just go straight for it. And it reminds me so much of the start of Kingsbane. But yeah, I love that. I love that so much. And then, yeah, we pop in here. We pop in. We get our second starter, which I think we'll just go for the plant here. Just go full poison and regeneration or something like that. And then, yeah, you're just off to the races. The enemies at the start will have 2 just like you do, and then from there you just build yourself up and get new combos, and just off you go, you know. Alright, anyway, so I'm gonna go ahead and leave it there. Please go try out the demo. It is one hell of an amazing thing. I think you'll really like it. Anyway, y'all have yourselves a good one. Take care, and I'll see you in the next one.